Hey guys, welcome back to another Vertigo video. Today we are gonna be putting this video once again in the travel category. There was a pretty decent amount of people who watched my travel commentary about Santiago. It was really fun. Honestly, it's been like a massive privilege to just be able to travel to the places that I've been this year, and I'm not done. I'm still going to Mexico. Yeah, in December I will be going to Puerto Vallarta. But my quest was basically to go to 3 Spanish-speaking countries this year. So in the summer, which was winter in the southern hemisphere, I went to Chile. And then I got to spend an entire month, basically the month of September, in Madrid, Spain. And I'd been to Spain before for about a week, in January of 2022. It was awesome. I love the country. I love the language. I love the food. Honestly, I love everything about the country, okay? Question is, and this will be what we address first, but why Spain? Well, okay, to provide like a little bit of context into that, I first left the country in April of 2012. I went on a trip to Italy, which was a pilgrimage. I went to a Catholic all-boys high school, and the patron saint of the high school was from Assisi, Italy. If you have any knowledge of the saints, you probably know exactly who I'm talking about. But we went to Assisi and we went to Rome, and it was really cool. I felt a little disconnected. I mean, I couldn't really say a whole lot there other than grazie and prego, which is funny because I'm actually going back to Italy with Bodega in March. And honestly, if you guys, it's your first time watching one of my videos, I playfully refer to my girlfriend as Bodega. I'm Vertigo. Kind of makes sense. Now, after that, I went on a trip to France several years later in 2018 as kind of like a college graduation present from my parents. I went with my family. Honestly, got to spend pretty much like close to 3 weeks there. Awesome. By any accounts, trip of a lifetime. Got to see a lot of the country. And once again, I felt a little bit disconnected. It was awesome. The cities were beautiful. The landscape was beautiful. And like I couldn't speak the language. So I was like, I want to come back here. But also, I don't know if I want to learn French. And then it hit me. Spain is right there. And also, context, and I don't know if you can kind of tell based on the play on words that is my YouTube username, but I'm Mexican, and I grew up with the language, okay? My grandma raised me and my brother when we were very, very young, before we went to school. Spent a lot of time with her, and she only spoke Spanish. I grew up with the language, and like I was really looking for a country that I could really connect with because I wanted a good reason to learn Spanish. And so I actually, sought out a Spanish tutor through a website called Preply, not a sponsor yet. And I just took private lessons for 4 years, and I've been accused of fluency, but I could talk a little bit more about that. Maybe I'll do a Spanish video at some point. But yeah, and I just felt, after this time, after this preparation, I was ready to go. I was ready to tackle it. What would it be like, spending a month abroad in another country? And so I did it. So I'll get into the specifics of like where I spent the majority of my time, but I stayed at a charming little flat in the Lavapiés neighborhood of the city. And Madrid in general is so fascinating because you can be in one neighborhood and there's just like the majesty of like the big buildings. It's elegant, it's super clean. It looks awesome, it looks regal. You think like, yeah, like this was once like kind of the capital of the old world. But, you walk for 5 minutes and, you're still in the city. But, all the buildings are kind of uniform in height, 3-4 stories. It gets hilly. There's some, downhills and uphills, and especially near Lavapiés, like it is pretty hilly. If you go to Madrid and you plan on walking around, I'm just going to say, like, be prepared to go up some hills. Be prepared to do a good amount of walking. The city is extremely walkable. I would hardcore recommend taking advantage of that. But yeah, like, there are hills. And sometimes in some places you get a little bit of a small town vibe. And then, once again, you keep going and you exit and it's this big street and like it's bustling and you hear the cars really loudly. But in addition to Madrid, I also went to Valladolid, Segovia, León, Oviedo, and one of my favorites, Gijón. Now, people often question like why I haven't gone to Barcelona. And the main reason that I could give for that is just that I know they have a bit of a unique identity themselves. Spain's autonomous communities are sort of interesting because people are very proud to be from their autonomous community, and they identify more with that than being Spanish. It's a pretty diverse country, especially as far as like culture and language goes. Spain has like a lot of languages, and like if you spend time there, outside of like Madrid, you will definitely notice that. As I said when I started this video, I wanted to go somewhere that spoke primarily Castellano, or what we Americans know as Spanish. And so I'll make it to Barcelona eventually. I know it's awesome. I know I'll have a good time there, but like Madrid is a little bit more my speed. And my favorite soccer team, not Real, okay? No soy fan de esa mierda. Yo soy del Atleti, joder. I'm just kidding. Okay, no disrespect to anyone who's a Madrid fan, but I'm a big fan of Atleti. I'll get into that later. You can't really talk about, your experience of visiting another country without really getting into like the food culture. I'm gonna tell you, this will be the case for pretty much any neighborhood that you stay at in Madrid, whether it's, close to Retiro, Malesania, Lavapiés, Barrio de las Letras, Chamberí. There's gonna be a lot of little bars, okay? Spaniards love their beer, and the beer that you're gonna see all over the place is called Mahou, Mahou. It's pretty good. I mean, I've never really been like a beer guy, and I'm still not really. But like what I go for and what I will wholeheartedly recommend that you try is vermouth. And I'll actually just say I'm not like the biggest wine guy. And vermouth is technically like kind of slightly more alcoholic wine. But there's a specific kind of vermouth that you'll get from the faucet, okay? It comes out of the faucet, and you get a little cup for literally like €3. It's awesome. And these things are like buzz balls. They're like 15% alcohol, so honestly, be careful with them. But the brand is called Izaguirre, and it's great. They give it to you with some ice, put a little orange piece. Also, if you get sangria in Madrid, what you're really getting is tinto de verano, which is basically that vermouth with sparkling water, maybe a little bit of fruit juice and like a little orange piece. That's basically what you get. It's good, and like everywhere has that, okay? And pretty much all the bars, you can be going down the street and there'll just be like a row of bars, and they all more or less sell the same kind of food. You can find like calamari, you can find, different kinds of Spanish ham, Spanish cheese, patatas bravas, other kinds of potatoes, olives, and just kind of like little tapas that, you get with your food, right? Different sandwiches, albóndigas. Another thing that's like popular as like a little snack, especially in northern Spain, at least in my experience, are called gildas. And they're like olives, peppers, sardines put on this little stick. And it's not the kind of thing that I would independently try on my own. But honestly, it was pretty good. And I hardcore fuck with Spanish food, okay? Give me some Spanish ham and some potatoes, and like, I'll be extremely happy. Calamari is good, almost universally. Anywhere that you go, you can probably find some good calamari, which is very impressive for a city that is smack in the middle of the country and pretty landlocked. Guys, I cannot mention food without mentioning Velascoabella. I had never really been to a Michelin star restaurant before. Allegedly at Palms in Las Vegas, there's a place called Tim Ho Wan, which is like a dim sum place, and allegedly they have a Michelin star. But that was nothing compared to this place, okay? Velascoabella, if and when you find yourself in Madrid, is an absolute experience. It's small, it looks unassuming, it's not particularly in like a super ritzy looking neighborhood of the city, very out of the way from touristy stuff. But my God, dude, my God. I had, the system, okay, is they have a menu and you order like, 6 little plates, and they're like little bites, and some of them are bigger than others, but like they work with you, so that like you order like the appropriate amount of food, and they'll give you unlimited bread and olive oil, like best bread I've ever had, best olive oil I've ever had. And then as far as the plates go, like my favorite shrimp I've ever had, my favorite pork tenderloin I've ever had, my favorite fish I've ever had. And that says a lot, okay? Best dessert I ever had. It was unbelievable. It was a remarkable 3-hour experience. And guys, when/if you go to Velascoabella, they will give you one of these. It is a personalized menu of everything that you get, and they even gave it to me in English. Now this all the way down here, where is it? This. Strawberries with vanilla panna cotta, black olive, and lemon verbena. Holy shit. That was the best dessert I've had in my entire life. And had it not been basically compulsory, I wouldn't have ordered it. But the flavors, like the saltiness of like the olive, the sweetness of the ice cream, and the tart of the strawberry, it all combined in your mouth into this perfect flavor profile. I didn't know I would be talking this passionately about a dessert. I'm normally not like a dessert guy, but you guys have to try it. It is expensive, people. So, you know, just make sure you save up in your piggy bank. Madrid will cost you, okay? Spain in general is not super expensive compared to, I think, like the UK and France. But the nice restaurants will put a dent in your wallet, that's for sure. Other highlights that I'll recommend to you guys, Bodega de los Secretos, which is this former bomb shelter that's been converted into a restaurant. It's in the Lavapiés neighborhood. That was awesome. Café Comercial, one of my favorite restaurants in the entire world. Very cozy, old world cafe. I believe it's in the Trafalgar neighborhood of the city. And I'll also add some more recommendations in the description of this video because guys, we had a lot of really awesome food when we were over there. And honestly, I could go on forever. Spaniards as a category of people are awesome. One thing, and I mentioned this in the Chile video also, but one thing that's really nice is that even though it's like the third most spoken language in the entire world, people act excited if they know you're a foreigner and you know how to speak their language. Not to like brag, but like people sometimes ask me like, where are you from? And I'll be like, you know, soy de los Estados Unidos. And then they'd be like, ¿por qué puedes hablar el español tan bien? And I think I mentioned this in the other video too, but a misconception that I think people have growing up in America is like someone who looks like me is going to go to a Spanish speaking country and people are going to think it's weird. Like, oh, like, you know, how does ultra whitey over there know how to speak the language? But that's not true. Spanish speaking people come in like all colors, guys. Like you can like in Spain, there are plenty of like white people and obviously they're Spanish and they speak the language. Like I wasn't sussed out immediately as like, oh my God, this guy's like a foreigner. And also as someone who also like is Mexican and cares about that part of his background, that's just a little bit annoying to me. I've had it my whole life, like the whole like you're not Mexican thing. Fuck you. All right, guys, check this out. I learned this from TikTok. Double middle fingers, and then it's a W for my last name. All right, what's up? What's up? Oh my God, guys. Here's the really exciting part of the video. I got to go to not one, but 2 Atleti games. Okay? The first one was a league game. It was Atleti versus Rayo Vallecano, Madrid derby, if you will. And Julian Alvarez, he's just the GOAT, man, okay? That guy, it pains me to say that he's too good for us. If he stays with Atleti his whole career, the Vatican should canonize him as a saint because that is a massive act of charity. But during the week that I was there, the Atleti just decided to play their best soccer of all time, okay? That game was awesome. The stadium was really cool. A bit of a warning about the stadium, actually. Don't expect to be able to get food during halftime. There aren't a lot of vendors in the stadium, and they'll run out of food before you know it. Like, I went up the stairs, you know, a minute or two before halftime so I can beat the line, you know, to go to the bathroom and then get food. And like, I'm like, oh, like, you know, bocadillo de jamón, por favor. And then they'd just be like, oh, like, lo siento, se me agotaron. They ran out. Yeah, expect that, okay? Also, no alcohol in the stadium. I was drinking Tinto de Veranos, thinking it had alcohol, and I was wondering why it wasn't affecting me. All the alcohol they sell in the stadium doesn't have alcohol. Beer, alcohol-free beer. Wine, alcohol-free wine. I can just be oblivious, but like, I just want you guys to know that. The second game was a fucking Champions League game. I got to attend a Champions League game against Eintracht Frankfurt. And guys, game day in Europe is so cool because you have all these foreigners walking around the city and they're wearing their team's colors and you hear the language and like the vibe is different, the energy. There's just like this tension. It's like, oh, these people are taking over. Oh no, they're not. No, we're not gonna let them. And the game was awesome. Huge respect to the Eintracht.
What did you say?
Huge respect to the Eintracht Frankfurt fans. They were extremely loud. There were moments where you would have believed that like it was them who was the home team. They were that loud, and they were classy. I think Germans are on another level. When I go to a German game next year, I expect to be wowed. Okay, I think Atletico fans are a little timid compared to what those people are gonna sound like. And I got a scarf, Champions League scarf, commemorating the game forever. My recommendation is that if you guys attend, I don't know if this is just, how every stadium is, but the scarf of the day, scarf of the match, it's not the best quality scarf you'll find, but after the match, they'll sell it to you for just €5. Before the game. And then there was the Madrid derby, El Derbi Madrileño. And I didn't want to pay $500 to get in, so we didn't go. But we went to a TGI Fridays, and we watched it on the TV. There was a mix of Real and Atleti fans there. And the Real fans outnumbered us. They did. But, like my indefinite hypothesis, and I mean this with no disrespect, but they all left after their team started losing. Atleti comes from behind. They're down 2-1. They all leave. The Atleti fans are the ones who remain. Like Real Madrid, okay? Like, they're just as much of a brand as they are a freaking team, okay, from the outside. And people will remove that brand like they're taking off, like a logo of a clothing brand. Again, I'm not saying they're all like this, but I'm saying that a lot of them are. And that's part of what happens when you're a club with so much history and so many titles. You just become a brand, and people know you as a brand and not human beings who are on the field actually playing a game right now. With that said, I know plenty of people who are actually Real fans, and much respect to them. This video is not directed at you. And then the other big thing, I am normally not great at keeping a secret, but I was so happy that my girlfriend was gonna come over with me. She took out PTO, and I was so thankful, and I wanted to do something nice. So the musical Wicked somehow had never been done in the city of Madrid before. And not only that, it was going to be completely in Spanish. Yes, I went to the opening night for Wicked in Madrid for the first time ever. It had never, ever been done before. And it was awesome, and I kept the secret, okay? We took the subway to the theater, and I'm like, I think this is the line for it. And she's looking around, and she's like, what? And then she looks up, she's a little short, so she looks up, and she's like, oh my God. And it was so good. It felt so satisfying keeping that secret. It was a good show. It was such like a main character thing to do. And that whole trip was, it was the best month. It was the best month. Not that anyone would accuse me of fabricating, but this is the popcorn bucket. As you can see, it says Wicked El Musical. Just phenomenal experience. It was just one very special thing after another. Guys, traveling, doing this, it costs a lot of money. I've worked my ass off at my job for the past couple years to save up for the opportunity to do something like that. And I just gotta endorse the fuck out of this, okay? This is just as much of a love letter to traveling and new experiences and getting to do cool shit, okay? Go out there, do something interesting, do something new. It is going to be something that you absolutely do not regret. Now, inevitably, I know the video is titled A Love Letter to Spain. But I do want to share some things that, could be interpreted as like a downside. I kind of mentioned one of them already, Madrid and kind of Spain as a whole, though, in smaller cities, less so. Spain's expensive. It's expensive. Your money is going to disappear extremely, extremely fast.
Hide the money, y'all. There's poor people around.
So, make sure you budget, make sure you think meticulously, about what, you're going to need to actually spend some time there. Again, it's not as crazy expensive as, London or Paris, but, it is going to be something that, like, you definitely want to take into account. There have been the rumors of the whole, over tourist thing. I know Barcelona had issues. I know Canary Islands had issues. I know other places had some issues. Madrid, yeah, it felt extremely touristy. I would also be mindful of that. If you go in the summer or even, the month of September, if you go to Puerta del Sol, it's going to be insanely packed. Honestly, it's going to be insane. So just prepare for that. Prepare for the crowds. Pickpocketing is a real thing. At no point was I really ever sketched out. So if you're in like those touristy areas, invest in one of those money bags that you kind of tie around your waist and then you put under your shirt. Or keep your hands in your pockets. Actually, when I got there, people were very nice about telling me, oh, hey, like your backpack is just a little bit open. I just wanted you to know that. They're real ones. I appreciate that. Another thing is that, if you're looking for major diversity when it comes to food, you might be a little bit disappointed. Sure, Spanish food is varied enough in and of itself. But, if you're coming from America, and quite honestly, I don't know if this is going to alarm people, you're used to kind of the best of everything. You're inevitably going to be disappointed and you might grow tired of it. American chains also kind of slap in other ways in which they don't here. You might see menu items that they otherwise don't have here, but you might miss it. I mean, I went to McDonald's, Subway. I even went to Costco, had some Costco pizza and other food in Spain, and not quite the same. Not quite the same. So be wary of that. I would say lastly, just because I feel like I have to say this, but a lot of European countries are experiencing heavy amounts of migration. Now, I'm not going to comment on anything political about that, but what I will say is an inevitability of that is tension with the local population, increased petty crime. So just be careful, keep your wits about you. Even if you walk around any touristy neighborhood at night, I suspect you'll probably be safe. I think you will find that, like, at least Madrid generally feels quite safe. But, look around, keep your wits about you, be smart. But honestly, I cannot say enough good things about this country. I cannot say enough good things about the city. Valladolid was also awesome. It's like a little version of Madrid. Gijón, wow, beautiful. The sort of castle structures, and then with the water and all the boats and people on the beach, and like the vibes are just amazing. I would recommend Gijón immensely. It's a bit of a day trip from Madrid and a massive day trip from Barcelona. So if you have time for it, go for it. I've heard San Sebastian is also like incredible. I haven't been to the Basque Country yet, but I plan on visiting this country many more times in my life. And actually, there's a good chance I might go next year. So basically, guys, that kind of concludes the video. I hope you've enjoyed this. Honestly, anytime I travel to a new place, I'm going to add some commentary. I'm going to upload a video about it. Next stop is Mexico. As I mentioned, I will be going with my girlfriend. And even though we've traveled and done a lot of things together, we have not actually boarded a plane together to go somewhere. So this will be the first time that's happened. Anyways, thank you guys. I appreciate you if you've watched this video up until this point. I only expected this to be like 10 minutes. I don't know how much it's going to be, but thank you guys again. Much appreciated. And cheers to you. Have fun.